add anything to the case we did not already know. And he said the announcement of Weinstein's indictment does not come as a surprise. We remind everyone that indictment is merely a formal accusation. Mr. Weinstein intends to enter a plea of not guilty and vigorously defend these unsupported allegations that he strongly denies. We will soon formally move to dismiss the indictment, and if this case proceeds to trial, we will expect Weinstein to be acquitted. Weinstein faces up to 25 years in prison if he is convicted. Weinstein is accused of forcing Lucia Evans to perform oral sex on him in his Tribeca office in 2004. A second woman who has not been identified alleges Weinstein raped her in a hotel in 2013. Brockman said that Weinstein was in a 10-year consensual relationship with the second woman, which continued after the alleged rape. So, yeah, really horrible stuff. And obviously you wish the best for these victims here. And you hope they you get their cases heard and justice brought. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to today's show. We got about 13 minutes left, more like 14, to be honest with you. So we still do have a lot of good time, though, and let's use it. The ACLU of North Carolina, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and the Southern Coalition for Social Justice have slapped the state of North Carolina with a federal lawsuit over the state's practice of suspending driver's licenses over unpaid tickets. They're not liking it. In North Carolina, the DMV is required by state law to automatically revoke a license after it receives notice from the court the person failed to pay the fines or penalties or associated costs. So the lawsuit alleges that the state law violates the 14th Amendment. So so the two plaintiffs in this case are 2017-year-old Seti Johnson and a 31-year-old Cherie Smoot. According to the lawsuit, Johnson has been unemployed and can't afford to pay off a ticket, as well as support his 3 children. He cobbled $700 together to get his license back last year, but before he was able to finally pay it off, he was hit with another ticket for $100 plus $208 in court costs. So right now it's $1,008 here. That he's having to pay here, if my math is correct. On top of the $700, he tried to pay together the cobble as well. So he was still able to pay $100 despite having over $300 to his name, but still owes $228 in court costs and will lose the license sometime around the end of July. He just obtained a new job, but his lawsuit says he will either have to forego the job or figure out a different way to drive his children to school, daycare, and the doctor's office, or he will have to illegally drive. I had previously fallen behind on my rent and sacrificed the needs of my children just to keep my license, John said in a statement provided by the ACLU of North Carolina. I cannot afford to do it again. This has to stop, added Smoot, who's a single mother who works at a call center 45 minutes away from home to help her grandmother as well as her 9-year-old daughter. I just want a fair chance to take care of my family. I can't afford to pay the tickets right now, but that shouldn't prevent me from having a driver's license. And so it's just a really incredible and sad situation. It's quite amazing that we really have to put this up with. So they said the ACLU lawsuit said it violates the 14th Amendment, and the 14th Amendment is pretty much the point of it is that when you see it's pretty much the Citizenship Amendment, which guarantees that everyone has a right to citizenship, and driving does include that. So I guess it makes sense. But I mean, it really is a crazy situation here. No other state in the union does this kind of stuff where they play around with people's ability to take care of their families, all for just missing and not affording, and they can't afford to pay a certain ticket. I mean, it's hounding enough already. So it's really quite a sad and disappointing situation. That is. It's really unfortunate just in general. And let's take a look at some of the more quotes for these people here. Johnson says, he just needs to pay and be able to support his children, drive them to school, drive them to daycare, etc. And he just can't because he doesn't have a driver's license. As of fall of 2017, the group say that over 436,000 people have had their licenses indefinitely suspended by the state's DMV for failure to pay fines and costs. In North Carolina, losing a license is more serious considering that public transportation is so rare. The lawsuit cites statistics from the Department of Transportation showing that only 1.1% of the state's population used public transport to get to work in 2013. This is a national problem as well. Washington Post report from earlier this month found that 7 million people across the country may have had their licenses revoked in traffic debt-related reasons, although the number has gone much higher. Given that study after study had shown evidence of racism, traffic stops, searches, and arrests, both Johnson and Smoot are black, it's just another way that that both the institutionalized racism and classicism of America's criminal justice system kneecaps the poor in a really what is a rough way, because it's just, I mean, the situation is that they can't deal with it. They just can't seem to pay it. And if they're black, they're going to get stopped for traffic. They're going to have traffic stops more. They're going to be subject to more tickets. And as we know, there's study after study that's shown evidence of racism in that. So that just carries over and adds to the pain of the African Americans who are less well off financially, who do happen to get stopped on the motorway. So yeah, it's not a good situation at all, and it's another one of many issues that we're getting piled on top of us here in the news lately. Anyway, we turn our attention to China. China is reportedly looking to line up other countries in the U.S. against the U.S. In a pending trade war after the White House announced an unexpected move toward trade tariffs, the Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday. The countries in question are mostly Europe and Asia, where companies could benefit from China's plans to give foreign companies more open access to the market. A day earlier, the White House said it would have a final list of $50 billion in imports that would be subjected to 25% tariffs by June 15th. So China is reportedly looking to line up other countries here. It's not looking great. On Tuesday, the White House announced it would have a final list, as we know, and this is not good because China is really trying to screw with us here. It just took up a step further. I know we kind of made a little bit of a resolution on the show, just to not really talk about the trade war until something amazing happens, and I'm getting the sense this is no small potatoes here. We're going to have a serious situation developing. If China tries to line up other countries to kind of go in on this trade war with us, that's a little bit disturbing here, just to say the least. And, I mean, why can't we just pick on China? I don't really know, but will Trump be able to handle this? I mean, it's a question. I mean, he's proven somewhat surprising maybe in the past, but, I mean, it's just, I don't like the way this is going, and I just don't know if he can handle it. Tuesday's announcement came after just 2 days after the country announced a tentative solution. U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Steven Mnuchin said that any trade war would be put on ice while negotiators worked out the details. As part of the deal, China would reduce its trade advantage by buying more U.S. goods and agriculture, such as agriculture and energy commodities. I mean, that seems to be, again, the main issue that they have here, and not really that much else. So, but U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross is said to arrive in Beijing on Saturday, but the surprise move from Washington could be an impediment to those talks and is casting doubt over whether they can advance to the next level, according to the Journal. The Journal, with that report there, and written up there by CNBC. And pretty much the main point is the trade war, I mean, it's heating up. And we are not liking the way this is going. I mean, there is some people casting doubt. There's some different messages coming in the Trump administration. I mean, when is there not? But this is a time, again, where it's so important for the Trump administration to really be unified and know what they're talking about here, because this is going to affect a bunch of people in the United States, especially in the middle of the country where Donald Trump is the most popular. The support for him is the strongest, and maybe like the Midwest area and the heartland of America. I mean, there's no Hollywood actor, there's no liberal Hollywood elite or New York Wall Street elite that's going to be affected in any way by this trade deal, except for maybe the fact the markets go down, he gets hurt. it's going to be the middle of the country. That's why it's so important that they nail this one out of the park just for their electoral strategy. And I mean, if you're Americans, we should kind of be on their side here just for moral reasons. Anyway, we turn our attention now, last story of the day here today, to Chuck Schumer. He's not cutting it. There's no possible better illustration of not standing up to the challenges of the political moment than Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer standing outside a Washington filling station demanding that President Trump have lower gas prices. Like, can you get any more? Does anyone think, sure, gas prices don't right, but are they a big problem? I mean, if we had like $4 or $5 a gallon, then yeah, I would be like freaking out. Like, someone talk about the gas prices, please, because everyone's thinking about them. But they're pretty fine right now. Like, it's not the big problem people are thinking about. There's so much more to be worrying about. Senator Schumer, he's demanding POTUS lower gas prices ahead of the summer driving season. It's time for the president to buck his executive buddies. Like, it's... Like, I mean, talk about not getting it and doing everything possible to avoid the issues that American people care about. That is Chuck Schumer right now. Yeah, it's really shocking. So last week, one day, I mean, it's not shocking that Chuck Schumer does the... it's not shocking that Chuck Schumer does something incredibly stupid, but it's really shocking just to take a step back and look how out of touch and tone deaf this guy is. It is shocking stuff. Last week, one day after Schumer and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi unveiled a good and necessary proposal to increase federal funding for teacher pay and public school resources in a USA Today op-ed, Schumer summoned the cameras for this instead. So, I mean, they had, like, federal funding for teacher pay and public school resources is a good and very important thing. Like, teachers are striking nationwide because they have some of the lowest quality education in the country. And we need to put the money funneling back into their schools because you Democrats are so dumb. You've lost all these state elections, and now we got these Alex-sponsored Republicans in here where big business just sends them bills to pass, and they pass them. I mean, that's pretty much the death of school funding here. And, like, it's often used as subsidies are used to fund other things. You don't want to tax big businesses if you're a Republican, so that's a problem. And it's just like, can we do something here? And it looks like maybe they're finally trying to do something here. And this is what we get. We do not really get anything from it. We get, like, almost nothing from it. At the Wednesday press conference, Schumer blamed the high price of gas on President Trump's decision to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal. And Chuck Schumer, guess what he did? Was he in favor of the Iran nuclear deal? Was he behind President Barack Obama? No. He supported killing the Iran deal. Supported killing it. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Here's the key quote from what I can find, just looking through this here. While we have come to different conclusions, I give tremendous credit for President Obama for his work on the issue. So they came to different... Pretty much, it's the most important point of that sentence there is, while we have come to different conclusions, he is wholly against the Iran nuclear deal here. I mean, he can't support himself there. I mean... just focus on something that's important. Just focus on something the American people care about. They care about, like, people in the heartland. They don't care right now, at least right now, about the way things currently are, about gas prices. They care about getting funding for their schools. They care about getting funding for their kids and getting their kids in the school to learn. I mean, I care about that issue. I want my school to be well-funded and good. Since we live in New York, it relatively is. So I'm very thankful for that. But, I mean, the point is, we need to do something about the school situation. The fact that they're talking about gas prices instead, that just shows you he is not talking about it. It's not good. Schumer held a press conference as Republicans in California prepared to deliver the signatures necessary to place on the November ballot a repeal